talking about this parsha all about tefillah, what tefillah can accomplish, what can we accomplish with tefillah. Moshe Rabbeinu put in plenty of tefillahs, and what can we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu about our own tefillahs? The Gemara says that there's a concept of a tefillah shov, waste of time. The Gemara gives an example. The Mishnah says that what is the first Mishnah in Aroi and Bracha says, she's pregnant, and he prays to the Rebbeinu Shalom and he says, let it be a boy. He wants a boy. That is a tefillah shov.
It's 50-50.
So the Gemara says,
waste of tefillah.
Yeah, waste of time. Shov.
Shin Vav Aleph.
So you call shov, or is it tefillah shov? The Gemara explains, depends. Before 40 days, after 40 days. If it's before 40 days, it could still change. After 40 days, it can change. Don't ask me to explain the pshat.
40 days pregnant.
Yeah, 40 days pregnant. If she's 39 days pregnant, it is very easy for the sex of the child to be changed. You just put in a tefillah, the Rebbeinu Shalom, no big deal. It changes from a zocha to a nekeva, and a nekeva to a zocha, no big deal. I don't know how it works, but apparently it works. How does it work?
First of all, how do I know this? Because I once knew a lady who worked at the hospital with Ibrahim.
Yeah.
And she told me that when you actually look at the fetuses, until the 40th day, you cannot tell the sex of the fetus. 40 years on, you can tell. Now today already, we know scientifically that sex is determined upon conception. On the Marsov, they didn't know that. So they only knew what they saw. So they possibly, according to what we talked about this before.
Okay, I know that's your pshat already.
Knowledge that was available at that time.
Okay, I hear. That's not exactly the pshat I was looking for, but I hear. Fine. Because today, they understand it differently. So I want to know how it would work with our understanding today.
Well, according to this, even before the 40th day, you can't take perception.
Right, it's the time of conception.
Yeah.
And today they know before 40 days. A simple blood test. They could tell you right away.
Before 40 days?
Before 40 days, yeah.
You know, my daughter, the one living in Prague, she had 2 boys. Very bad pregnancy, like a whole 9 months in bed in the hospital. She said, no more kids. I said, Mommy, you don't want another daughter? She said, if it's a daughter, Bezrat Hashem, she become pregnant. She was expecting a girl the whole pregnancy. And then she had a boy, another boy. She said, Abba, you become pregnant only because of you. I said, it was a girl, but your father-in-law passed away. And the father-in-law, the grandfather of the father-in-law. My son-in-law grandfather passed away. His name is Yitzchak. So Hashem changed it because he didn't have a name. So Hashem changed it to Yitzchak. Into the shame and the other time. But she has beautiful 3 kids, you know.
The Yerushalmi says that it's not a tefillah shov. If she's already she's already having the baby, and now she prays, now it's a wasted tefillah, it's a tefillah shov. But you could pray, she's 6 months pregnant, they did a blood test, a sonogram, it's a boy, it's a girl, they know avada, doesn't matter, you could go daven for it. So how do we understand this machloikis of the Bavli and the Yerushalmi? So, very, very insightful thing to the whole idea of tefillah, the Rebbe's understanding. And let's start with just looking at the first 2 rashis of this week's parsha. Then we will look at a quote of the Sifrei and the Medrash Rabbah, which Rashi quotes. And then we'll discuss the whole idea of tefillah. And we'll get back to this praying for a boy or a girl, 40 days or the entire pregnancy. So look in the Chumash, the first pasuk of this week's parsha, VEschanan. You have the Chitas booklet. It's page Lamed Aleph. VEschanan Hashem Beisei Leimar. Hashem Elokim Atay Chilois. L'Haaretz Azavdecha Zgodlecha V'Zyodecha Achazoka. Hashem Yelu Yisrael L'Haaretz Asher Yatzach V'Asecha V'Chigvur Esecher. Ebrana Ve'erez Es Oretz Atoive. Asher Be'ever HaYarden Ahor Atoive Zev Almon. Again, the first pasuk in VEschanan, it's page Lamed Aleph here in this booklet. Rashi says, VEschanan ein chinun b'chol mokim elo loshen matnas chinun. Chinun is only matnas chinun. Ava b'shesh lom tzadikim litlis b'masei matoivim. Even though the tzaddikim could pray and rely with the prayer on their good deeds, the tzaddikim only ask for a gift. Even though they really have money in the account. They say to Rebbe Shalom, please give it to us as a gift. They don't say, oh well, we deserve it. We deserve it then. No. They ask it as a gift. Because the Eibusha said, where did Moshe learn this? The Eibusha said, I'm going to have pity. But the words is, I'm going to have that's the way that Moshe Rabbeinu said, I learned from you that it should be in a way of matnas chinan, asking for a gift. Another pshat. This is one of the 10 lashonos of tefillah. We know when Rashi says something, he's bothered. What's bothering Rashi here? The first time the child ever saw or ever will see the word VEschanan. It's the only time on the Torah. It's an unusual word. What does it mean? So Rashi wants to say it matnas chinan, but in order to prove it, he says you should know that it's kol makom. You should know it's a matnas chinan. So child is going to say, why don't we ever find elsewhere that what prayer should be with this lashon? So therefore, Rashi said the second pshat that this is one of the 10 lashonos of tefillah. Rashi says "K'diisa v'sifrei," as we see it in the sifrei. Why does Rashi have to? Rashi never quotes his source unless there's a real reason why. Why does he have to say "K'diisa v'sifrei"? In fact, this same pshat is also brought in the Medrash Rabbi. Why does it have to say Kedisa b'sifrei? So this is what we'll focus on today. But before we can go into the Medrash, let's just look one more. Rashi b'Eisahi. At that time, why only now did he daven to the Eibishter to allow him to go into the Holy Land? Why didn't he daven until now? Or he woke up today? Because now I conquered the land of Sichem v'Oig, I thought maybe the vow the Eibishter made, I will not enter, had been untied. That vow, that knot, has been undone. Because you see, I already conquered the land of Sichem and Oig. Therefore, now I figured I'm going to pray. The Eibishter said no. One more Rashi, if you may. Later, when the Eibishter answers him, look at this page Lamed Gimel, the second line. It says, Rav Loch. The Eibishter says, it's enough for you. Number one, Rashi says, Shalo Yoimru Harav Kama Kosher Vatalmud Kalma Sarvanu Mafsik. I don't want the Jews to say, he said, stop davening. Enough. Daven, enough. Stop davening. Why? The Jews are going to say, look how much the student, Moshe Rabbeinu was a student, is begging, and the Rabbi is just hard. He's stubborn. No, I don't want it to look that way. So, Dover Acher, second shot, Rav Loch. There is a harbe mizashamur loch. There is a lot guarded for you in the world to come. Rav Toiv Vatzofan Loch, it's hidden for you. However, the Eibusha said, I will show you the land. Alei Rosh HaPisga, go up in that Pisgah, and you will see the entire land. Let's go back to our question. Rashi brings a two pshatim what the word VEschanan. Again, we said the child has a question. Well, what does the word VEschanan mean? Two pshatim. One is VEschanan means matnas chinam. He says, please give it to me, even if I don't deserve it. Give it to me as a matona. Second pshat is VEschanan is just one of 10 expressions of tefillah. And then Rashi says, why is it important to know it comes from the Sifrei? So let's look at the Sifrei and the Medrash Rabbah. First, I have here quoted a piece of the Medrash Rabbah, and then I have the Sifrei.
How Moshe asks for matana? It says soneh matanot yichir. Exactly the opposite.
So the Ashkenazim say you have to read everything different. Not the soina matonas, you have to put it to make it like a shin. Sheina matonas yichir.
Oh.
Nice matonas.
Okay.
Sheina matonas.
Some are diverse. Signing matanas of the ichya.
That's nice, I like it. Saying matana,
Sagt Medrash Rabbah, top line. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Sarah Lashon is Nikla Tefillah. That there is 10 expressions for tefillah. Ve'eluhein. Shoya, tzaka, naka, rina, pegia, bitzur, kriya, nipul, pilul, tchanunim. Shoya, tzaka, shenema, ve'elch, b'nei Yisrael, v'nevaga, ve'ezak, naka, d'ksiv, ve'ishmu, kumis, nakos, v'rinu, u'pegia, d'ksiv, altis, bal, badam, zav, altisa, be'adam, rino, tefillah, v'altiv, gabi, tefillah, v'altiv, gabi. Bitzur kriya d'ksiv b'tzarli ekra nipul d'ksiv v'nisnapel l'fnesha pilul d'ksiv v'yamet pilchas v'yifal tachnun d'ksiv v'eschanan m'kulam loy nispal Moshe elablash tachnunam. Which one of the 10 did Moshe Rabbeinu pick from the? He picked this one lashon tachnunam v'eschanan. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Mekanat alamet." From here you learn. A creation has nothing, no tinus. He has no demands to his creator. If you are created, by definition, you have no tinus to your creator. So therefore, you can't. He didn't demand. He only came with the lashon of tachanonim, begging, asking, requesting.
According to this is the highest of the tefillah tachanuna. Moshe went with this.
Yeah. That's what the Medrash Rabbah says. This is the Medrash Rabbah. Now let's learn the Sifrei. Sifrei says the same thing, but you will notice a tiny difference, which makes a huge difference. That's from the previous Medrash. Shnei parnesim toiv ve'amalam l'Yisrael, Moshe v'David HaMelech, Moshe David HaMelech v'hoyu yochaylim, litlois es avedes b'maaseim atoivim, v'loi bigshu mina mokem shitlam elachinam. They only asked chinam. They had a lot of their own ma'asim tovim, but when they requested, they only asked chinam. Zah dover kal v'choyme. I could learn from this. Uma eilish shechayim litlos esa vehida b'masem atovim v'loi bikshu min ha'makom shitlam al b'chinam misheini echod me'elef alfei alofim v'ribei devovis metalmedei malachas kama v'kama. If Moshe Rabbeinu and David HaMelech didn't rely on their ma'asim tovim, they only asked matnas chinam, someone who isn't 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 1,000,000 of Moshe Rabbeinu, or even from his students.
What's the shot? Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to take out the credit, like you have a credit line by the
No.
I want to go to 0, I don't want to touch my credit. Like, what's the explanation? Like, what's behind it?
Okay, we'll get to that. Very good kasha. Shalo yavakshem and amokim chinam. Dover acher, a second pshat. VEschanan al Hashem. What's Shabbos? VEschanan Yud Lashonis Nikra. Tefillah, there's 10 Lashonis, and Tefillah is Oka, Shoah, Naka, Tzor, Rina, Pgia, Nipul, Pilul, Atira, Amida, Chilul, Chinun, and he brings a raya for every one of them. In first glance, the Madrash Rabbi, the first quote here, and the Sifrei are saying exactly the same thing. There's only one thing that's different. The Madrash Rabbi doesn't say Davarach. He says everything has one pshat. He says that there's 10 Lashonos in Tefillah. One of them is Tachanun. What does Tachanuni mean? Tachanuni means I don't say I deserve it. Never mind what I deserve. I don't deserve. Please give it to me as a ma'atzchim. The Sifrei Nishmaskim. The Sifrei says it's two different pshatim. It's not one thing. It's not a cholm. The Sifrei doesn't make a cholm. One pshat is VEschanan mid matnas chinam. It's not one of the 10 Lashonos of Tefillah. No connection to Tefillah. Tefillah is Tefillah, matnas chinam is matnas chinam. Don't confuse me.
Different thing.
Different thing. Second pshat is that really it's one of the 10 Lashonos of Tefillah, but it's not matnas chinam. It says all this is Tefillah, all this is matnas chinam. It's not the same thing. But the Medrash makes a chont of it. He says, yeah, it's one of the 10 Lashonos of Tefillah, but what is it? What kind of Tefillah is? It's not the Zakah, scream, Rebbeinu Shalom. There's Rina, there's singing, there's 10 ways of. One of the ways is that I say to Rebbeinu Shalom, please give it to me as a matnas chinam. One of the 10 ways to talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's what the Medrash says. So according to the Medrash, it's not two separate pshatim, it's one pshat. But the Sifrei says no. The Sifrei says don't confuse me. There's two separate things. There's matnas chinam and there's tefillah. Tefillah is not matnas chinam. Matnas chinam is not tefillah. What is the dispute here between the Medrash and the Sifrei? And this will also answer Shmulek's question: why would you ask for matnas chinam if you ask him a mela? This will answer your kasha too. It seems like a kleinigkeit, but still, it's a machlokes. You see that according to the Medrash, it's alta zelbazach. It's one thing, and the Sifrei says no. It's two separate things. There's matnas chinam, there's tefillah. Tefillah is not matnas chinam is not tefillah. They're two separate things. And that's why Rashi says.
So even matnas chinam is part of tefillah also.
That's what the Medrash says. It's one of the 10 ways. One way is screaming. One way is singing. And the top way is to beloshen tachanunim that I say to Rebbeinu Shalom, never mind what I have in my bank account, what I don't, please give it to me as a matnas chinam. That's one of the 10 ways of doing tefillah. But the Sifrei disagrees. He says, no. One pshat is matnas chinam and one is tefillah. Tefillah is not matnas chinam is not tefillah. This is, by the way, why Rashi, we started off with Rashi says, Kid isa b'sifrei. Rashi disagrees with the Medrash. He likes the Sifrei to say that this is two separate pshatim. Like Rashi says, dovar acher, an under pshat. Because he accepts the mahalach of the Sifrei. So what is really the machlokes here? So we have to understand what's tefillah. What's tefillah? So a lot of the Rishonim discuss what tefillah is. What's tefillah?
How long Sifrei was before Rashi? Rashi quoted him before him.
Very long time, no?
Sifrei is the Rambam says, I think Rav, Shmuel, Sifrei. I don't know, it's 400, 600 years, 700 years, 800 years. We don't know exactly, but it's...
Rashi was about what, 700 years?
Rashi is about 900 years ago.
Nice.
And the Chasimas Talmud is 1400 years ago, 1500 years ago.
Tefillah according to the Rambam is if I need something, I'm asking Hashem, if I don't need it, I don't ask.
But
the Geda of Tefillah according to the Rambam.
So never mind if I need it or not. Now is a different nakuda that the Ikrim, for example, says that the idea of tefillah is if a person is not worthy, like Menashe Mechizkiah, there's a big balaveda. So tefillah is that kol hatoivos magias Hashem Yisborach al tzad hachesed v'agmul lo yischar ma'asav hatoivim yagiu mi'ite toivos she'iyah mekabel muchen abilti muchen. That's the way the ikrim. That doesn't matter if you deserve it, you don't deserve it. Rosh Tzaddik requests from the Eibishter. But the Rebbe argues that perhaps the tefillah, when a person, if God created, you know, if you have animals, right? If you have pets, you're chayiv to feed them. You're not allowed to eat before you feed them. We'll talk about this maybe one that's interesting. We learned about this in the Gemara in Brochus, right? The Rabbi Shalom created a human being. So he has to provide his needs. Number two, like Rabbi Gamliel says, if you give a Jew Suda Shlomo V'Shaita, you give him a feast like Shlomo Melech in his days of glory, it's still not enough. Number three,
what?
if you give a Yid a feast like Shlomo Melech, it's still not good enough.
You want more?
Yeah, he deserves more.
Yeah,
And number
then there's of course somebody does a various punishment.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's also part of the whole
That's
thing.
a punishment's a punishment. But the Bible, after the punishment, he deserves the Suda Shloima. And number three, a Yid that does Torah mitzvahs, it says, so, what's the tefillah? So the tefillah is number one, on a very simple level, you could say tefillah is to get more than a person deserves. Maybe he deserves a little, he wants a lot. But more importantly is, it says in the pasuk, all the Mefarshim talk about what kind of chesed is it that the Eibishter rewards a person for his ma'asim. Yes, so there's many answers for this, from Musar and for Drush and for Soid, and many levels. I remember at my Sheva Brochus, one of my Zed took a lot of l'chaim, and he said, 5-6 pshatim on this pasuk. I remember one of them was like pshat of pshat. So he said his pshat of pshat was that there was a king, and he took a liking for someone. The guy was a beggar, so he said they should build him a palace, and he gave him a good position. But the guy was a little wild, so he used to run into the thing. His shirt wasn't fully buttoned, and his suit wasn't on nice, and his shoelaces were. The king said, it's not nice. Here in the kingdom, people, their ties are, the top button is clipped, and the tie is azoy, and their shoes, their laces are tied. Come look at bench. Mask. How much are you going to pay me for that? He said, this guy is nuts.
Everything wants money.
He's nuts. What's going on? This guy, the king took a liking for you. He built you. He gave you everything. Now he tells you to tie your shoelaces. Why? Because it's good for you. People will respect you. You look like a yokel here. So now you want to know how much you're going to pay me? The Rabbi created us and gives us the mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are good for us. They're good for us. Now we say, what are you going to pay for it? So that's why we say, Atat Shalom Kish Kamasei was a chesed. That was my Zayda's pshat. He had another pshat. For every l'chaim, he had another pshat. But,
I have a question.
Yeah.
When somebody mitpalel tefillah,
yeah.
and then he asks for matna tefillah, he has more chances to get the matna because just
Right.
it's more chances for him to get it from him.
For sure. And that's even in other words, even though he deserves it, but what does he really deserve it on the deepest level? There's always this tension in Chassidus. There's a concept of sarusa de la sarusa de la ela. If a person, the Gemara says, a person sanctifies himself, they sanctify him from heaven. Midah keneged midah. Midah shadam moidem boy. If a person does good, they'll do good for him. A person smiles, they'll smile to him. In the words of Chassidus, a Kabbalah is sarusa de alo asman, shachas mad, sarusa de la sarusa de la ela. When a person has a sayrus, they'll be from heaven. Does it have to be that way? The Eibishter made it should be that way. The Eibishter made that when I smile, they smile to me. The Eibishter made that when I do a mitzvah, they reward me. The Eibishter made that when I do the mitzvah, nasati geshmeichem. The Eibishter made it's cause and effect. But it's not really cause and effect. The Eibishter made it should be cause and effect. That's the pshat. Atat the shalom kishlam. It's a chesed because the Eibishter made it that way. It doesn't. It said, well, that's nature. If you pour the water, there's gravity. The water will go down. And who made the nature? Who made the gravity? The Rebbeinu Shalom. It's natural if a person does a mitzvah, a mitzvah get at his mitzvah. So, but who made that rule? The Rebbeinu Shalom. That's what it's a chesed. So that's tefillah. That's what tefillah is.
Even the idea that Eibishter made it, we could daven to him, that itself is already a chesed.
That's why we ask as a matna chidna. That's why the Gemara says that a person shouldn't ask for his own schusa. Now let's go back to the Medrash and the Sifrei. The pasuk says Tachanunim Yada Berosh V'Osher Yana Azus. Oh, a guy of chutzpanyak goes in. Where's my money? It's Friday. Where's my money? Rosh, a edel person comes in and he says, "Efshe, you have a check for me?" It's the same guy. So two people work in the office. It's just the attitude, what lotion they use to ask for their check at the end of the week. So one way, the Medrash really is saying that there's two ways of tefillah. I could say, no, I'm a human being. You got to provide. You created me. What do you got? You put a fish in the tank, you're not going to put in water? You can make me starve? I'm a yid. I better have Ram Mitzvah Yaakov. No Shemitah Mitzvahs. Rabbi, give it to me now. Or you could say, yid could ask in a way of matna schina. So which way is a better way of asking? Matna schina. That's what the Medrash is saying. Right. That's what the Medrash is saying. There's two ways of asking. You can ask like a chutzpanyak, or you can ask in a refined way. That's what the Medrash is saying. The Sifrei is saying no.
Assuming matna schina is the way you said it.
Matna schina means.
I was saying, tell Hashem that I'm a good yid and that I'm
that it means no, that he knows that he deserves it. But instead of saying, listen, I've worked here for a week, so I deserve a check,
right.
He says, please, can you forward the check? Doesn't say, listen, you owe it to me. You better give it. If you won't give it to me, I knock your teeth out.
So just say, please have my check.
Right. That's a nice way of asking. It's a loshen tefillah. It's one of the lashonas of tefillah. Now,
it's more than 10.
Right, there's 10 lashonas. Well, we have to figure that out. That's a good kasha.
No, Moshe davening 500 times? Well, it is.
Right, it's almost much more. Almost 1,000.
And the Eibishter said, stop. Then keep going. It's a chutzpah, it's not nothing.
No, the Eibishter didn't say stop. When the Eibishter said stop, he stopped.
In the end, he says that.
The Sifrei says no. The Sifrei says that they're two separate things. Tefillah is not matna schina is not tefillah. Tefillah means, like we said before, tefillah means that a person really deserves it. Elamai, he's asking from the Eibishter, even though he deserves it, he's asking for the Eibishter to get more, or even though he deserves it, it's really a chesed from the Eibishter. The Eibishter wants that you should daven to him. Matna schina is not tefillah. True, a person has the right to ask the Eibishter for matna schina, but that's not the idea of tefillah. Tefillah means when I really deserve it. Matna schina and tefillah are two separate things. That's what the Sifrei holds. The Sifrei holds that there's two separate things. You can't mix the two things. There's two pshatim of what VEschanan meant. Either you're asking for matna schina, or you're asking tefillah. Tefillah doesn't mean matna schina doesn't mean tefillah. The Medrash is saying that this is a way of tefillah. Instead of saying, listen, I worked here for a week, give me the check, please can you give me the check? It's a way of saying it. It's a loshen of tefillah. But the Sifrei says, no. Tefillah is tefillah, and matna schina is matna schina. Tefillah is when a person deserves, he wants more, or he wants to actually get it, and he wants to ask the Eibishter for it, so on. Matna schina is when he doesn't deserve. There's two separate things. That's why Rashi has later, when the Eibishter said, please, the Eibishter said, stop, and Avloch, two pshatim. One is, I have a lot of reward for you that's already put away. Another pshat was, I don't want people to say, the Yidna say, look, that the Rav is so hard and the Talmud is so soft and begging. That's based on the two pshatim. If you say he's asking him matna schina, Matnas Chinam you can ask a bazillion times. The Rebbeinu Shalom said, please stop. Because if you're going to continue to think, Matnas Chinam you can go on forever, and it'll look like the Rebbeinu Shalom is hard, and the Talmud, according to the second shot, that VEschanan means he has tefillah, the Eibusha said, yes, true, you deserve, and it's already put away for you in Gan Eden, and that's where you're going to get your reward. That's why. So again, to summarize, Rashi takes the shot of the Sifrei. There's two separate things. There is Matnas Chinam and there's Tefillah. Tefillah is not Matnas Chinam. Matnas Chinam is not Tefillah. A person sometimes Tefillah, that's Rashi, because Rashi is Pshat. Like in Pshat, you can't mix these two things. There's two things. I deserve it. I'm a frum yid, and I feel I deserve it, but still I daven for it. Because I believe it comes from the Eibishter.
How do I know it?
So maybe I feel I don't deserve it, then I ask for Matnas Chinam. But the Tefillah, Matnas Chinam are two separate things. The Medrash is more or less pshat. It's more like it's like little like this. Say, look, there's two ways to ask for something. You can ask, you know you deserve it. You can ask, demanding it, or you can ask in a nice way. But really, you know you deserve it.
If you ask for your paycheck, that's not about the skin, is it?
Well, it depends how you're asking for your paycheck.
If you ask it the nice way,
Well, then no, it's not a matnas chinam. Not
you
really.
work for it.
You work for it. It's just a lush. It's a lotion of chinam, but it's not really chinam.
Well,
According to the Sifrei, according to the first pshat, Moshe Rabbeinu was so humble that he didn't feel he deserved. He felt that it was all chinam. That's why it's interesting that in the lotion of the Medrash, Ein lebriya klum etzel boiroi. So legabi the Eibishter,
You don't think.
but legabi me it is, because I know I deserve it. I'm asking it beloshen chinam. But in the Sifrei it says, no, that the tzaddikim, that they don't see that their masayim toivim are worthy, because they're so humble. So there's two pshatim really when we say matnas chinam. In the Medrash, it's at lashon tefillah, because I know I deserve it, but it's a refined way of asking for it. The Sifrei is no, there's two separate things. There's asking for matnas chinam, and there is tefillah. There's two separate things.
By the way, what would be an example of matnas skin would be like you said that you're
Like this guy who was at Osha, right?
and
And he knew that he doesn't deserve anything, but still he asked the Eibishter matnas chinam.
because like you said it before, you give an example of when you put it, Avram ben Yitzchak.
No, that's the opposite.
That's the opposite.
And he
So
knows
what
Avram ben Yitzchak.
So-
So,
right.
but instead of demanding it, he says a
Very nice.
tefillah in a way of
That's
tachanun.
you, right.
But the Sifrei says no, there's two separate things.
Matnas
There's tefillah
is
and there's
just,
matnas chinam. He could be a
without
big
doing
rasha, but it's not tefillah,
No, it's without doing anything good.
right?
He's demanding it anyway.
He's not demanding it.
Not
He's
demanding.
asking.
Yes.
Matnas chinam.
Yes,
So if tefillah and matnas chinam are two different things, when do you do matnas chinam? How do you do it? What's the process?
You ask. You say to Banishlam, I'm asking for
When I'm
matnas
not
chinam.
davening.
It could be in davening, but
Oh, in davening.
But it doesn't. But according to the Sifrei, this is not really the idea of tefillah. Tefillah is when a person really deserves it, but he asks the Eibishter anyway for it. But matnas chinam is when the separate thing. It's not really. Well, we call it all davening in Yiddish, davening, but it's two separate things. Sometimes a person asks matnas chinam, and sometimes a person asks tefillah. And here, Moshe Rabbeinu was so humble, he didn't see as if he has any ma'asim tovim, so therefore he asked it as a matnas chinam, according to the first pshat.
But in our tefillah, sometimes you can ask for your own need.
Right. Depends. Sometimes you ask a matnas chinam, sometimes in the way of tefillah. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah says,
But how can a person know deserves? I mean, maybe by big tzaddikim, but how could a person? I mean, a person he asks help me. I need whatever it is, help. I'm not so I should be able to be a yid, to do mitzvahs, to raise my children, to this. I need it. For
so
this
that's
thing.
tefillah. That's tefillah.
Well, wait, but what does it have to do with deserving? I mean, like, I'm not sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that, deserving means what? I know that I have spusim and this and that. I don't know.
Okay, so then it goes into the category of matnas chinam.
Even you're saying I need it for you know, what does it say? You know, with the Phyllis, what does it say? You know, to do your mitzvahs and your Torah, and I need a couple, whatever it is. Are you saying I deserve it? You're saying I need it for this, not to have fun, not to right. So is that called matnas chinam, or it's tefillah? I mean, that has nothing to do with what we're discussing.
No, it's everything to do, but probably a good idea always to ask for matnas chinam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how. I mean, there's no way to know. We don't know the cheshbon of the egg.
Right, because we don't know the cheshbon. That's why it's always a good idea to ask him a way of matnas chinam.
But you could say you really, you know, like you really feel that you're not being whatever. You're not some person to feel he's not able to do, you know, what he has to do because he's, you know, the ruchni is because he's pressed the gashmis, or either person could appeal that.
Right. We say, for example, there's a tefillah, ata chafetz v'onu chafetz, mi me'akev. Right? So what are we saying? That's sort of a little bit in the category of tefillah, not matnas chinam. We say the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're trying our best. Give us the tools.
Yeah.
Right? That's like tefillah. We're not asking pure matnas chinam.
So you would say that's already.
That's like tefillah. That's not matnas chinam. We're saying onu chai ayovim v'ata chayim, onu chafetzim v'ata chafetz. Right? That's like a tefillah.
You can say, Hashem, give me food, give me parnasa. This way I have koach to serve you and to pray for you.
Right, that's like tefillah. Right, that's tefillah. There's what's the machloikas here? The sifrei and the. So there's an interesting Gemara, very long Gemara in Rosh Hashanah. After there's a gzar din against a person, does it help tefillah or not? The machloikas, the Gemara says, comes out that's a machloikas tanoi.
After what?
There's a gzar din against a person.
Depends.
Was it help? Huh?
Depends if Yochid or Rabbi.
The Gemara says it depends. Yochid. V'ram depends. But the Gemara also says the machloikas that there are shittas that hold that after gzar din doesn't help. Yochid, Rabbi, never going to help. And there are shittas that it will help. But it's like maybe Yochid, maybe Rabbi.
So what do you mean as so it's going to help?
Yeah. Is it going to help? Right. Is it going to help?
Could you turn around?
So to turn it around. Like over here it says, Rashi says, that he said that the shvua, the vow was undone. Okay, so why is he davening? Good, the vow was undone. Doesn't mean the gzeira was undone, right? The vow he thought was finished. No more vow. Okay, so why is he davening? Because there was a gzeira. So he wanted the gzeira to be wiped away. So he davened. So you could say that this is the machloikas, says the Rebbe. If you hold like the opinion that tefillah helps after gzar din, you could say that VEschanan was a tefillah. But if you say, like the opinion in the Gemara, that after gzar din tefillah doesn't help, Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know Gemara, Daf Yud Zayin and Rosh Hashanah. Boys of 15 years old know it already, the Gemara. So why was he davening? That's why the other opinion says it was not a tefillah. It was a matnas chinam. It was not a tefillah. It was a matnas chinam. Moshe Rabbeinu said, yeah, true, tefillah doesn't help after the gzar din, but matnas chinam does help after the gzar din. We learn from Moshe Rabbeinu a big chiddush, that even though there's opinion in the Gemara that says after gzar din, forget about it. You're wasting your time. It's tefillah shav. Moshe Rabbeinu says no. You can still do matnas chinam. And the Rebbeinu Shalom didn't say he's wrong. The Rebbeinu Shalom said, please stop. You're making it very complicated.
Never give up. You learn from
the Rebbeinu Shalom said, please do me a favor. Stop. Make it.
It's like the shir that you gave, even when they say in Ashmayim, this tshuva don't help.
Exactly. Exactly.
What he was asking, we could thinking, what Moshe Rabbeinu was asking. You go to Israel, that's it.
Right. Exactly.
What was the shul here again?
The the shvur was that he won't go into Eretz Yisrael. Not in this bus. It was earlier.
Where?
I don't know. To look in Rashi where it was.
They work for it.
I don't know. Somewhere it was. I have to look in the
first
I
Rashi?
don't know which Rashi it is.
Oh.
Rashi says it's somewhere over here.
Okay. Maybe over here in Shmai.
I don't know.
I think Moshe know if you go to Israel.
By the way, before you said Shmuel with
Not gonna have golos.
what do you call it? Rabbi Shmuel, what does that have to do with Sifri, by the way?
One made I think the Sifri and one made the Sifrot.
Is that, you hear them on Midrash, Sifri's
Both Madrashim. Both Madrashim. Both Madrashim.
Oh, they are Midrash?
He took care of it.
Sifri and Sifri. What's the period?
Rabbi, I heard something nice word. Why Moshe Rabbeinu was buried in Chutzlaretz?
Yeah.
Really, by Yochanan, and he dug into Hashem hundreds and hundreds of feet.
Moshe Rabbeinu is not buried.
Okay, not buried, yeah. So, how many thousand buried in the Midbar? Yeah, right? Who will take care of them when Mashiach comes to bring him to Eretz Yisrael?
Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to
Rabbeinu will take care of them.
Exactly.
He took care of them all this year. He took them from Mitzrayim. He brought them to the Midbar. They're all buried there. You have to take them to Eretz Yisrael.
That's the
One of the
machloikas of the Babel and the Yerushalmi. If you could pray that the pregnant woman, the person that says, because the Babel and Yerushalmi both have a certain understanding. The understanding is that for whatever reason, 39 days, the baby still neutral, gender neutral. 40th day, now it's boy or girl. Boy or girl?
Today you can't daven like this because it could change.
You missed. Aaron had a good shot. But, not now, it's Chanel. You'll ask soon Aaron, I'll give you his shot. So, B'meila, it's hard to say there was a machlokes Babel Yerushalmi about when the child becomes, a specific gender. They understood that it was Arba Yom. But the Mishaila was that they helped to daven after the Gzeira. So the Bavli holds, no, that's it. Once it was a Gzeira, the Eibishter made it should be male, female. That's the Gzeira al Yoina. No davening now. Doesn't make sense. It's a Tefillah Shov. The Yerushalmi holds, no, it's not a Tefillah Shov. You can still do Tefillah after. And really, this is really the attitude of the Bavli, is that a person always asked questions. It was all Machshakim Yeshivan is a Talmud Bavli. The Gemara says that it was a very dark place, so a person always had to figure out, come to the truth by so the person's avodah. So that's tefillah. Tefillah is the person's avodah. So as far as tefillah is concerned, that works before the Gzeira. After the Gzeira, tefillah doesn't work. But Yerushalmi says, forget about tefillah. We work with the Or Yosha. We look with the big light. Never mind. Matnas Chinam. We ask with Matnas Chinam. Matnas Chinam, that works. We see from Moshe Rabbeinu, Matnas Chinam works also after the Gzeira. And the Yerushalmi says, once the woman's already having the baby, now it's already, it's like, you want to change the gender of a human being. That's already a Tefillah Shov. But up to Yesheves al Mashba, she's 8 months pregnant, okay, Tefillah not, but Matnas Chinam, that's what we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. It's a Matnas Chinam. No, that's what we said before. Tefillah is as a person has zechusim, but he's asking to cash in the zechusim. He wants to cash in the zechusim. That's why tefillah is not matnas chinam, and matnas chinam is not tefillah. That's very good. You're happy. That's what we're trying to. That's what the Sifrei is saying. There are two different stories. There's tefillah and there's matnas chinam. Tefillah is not matnas chinam. Matnas chinam is not tefillah. Tefillah is a person that wants to cash in his ma'asim tovim. one of the ways to understand, I was talking before about Atat Shalom Kiyishka Maseyu. One of the pshatim that again back to my Zayda's pshatim is that it's brought in Chassidus that sometimes a person gets a very incredible energy from heaven. They give him rich. They give him Ashirus Gedoyla. But the problem is that it's stuck in the Olam Atzilus and B'riyah, Tzira. When he'll come to Gan Eden, there's going to be Gavaldik. But he has to pay the rent at the end of this month. The beautiful big life in Atzilus is not going to pay the gas, electric, and the men of this month. He has to get that godly light to translate into dollars and cents. That's called bringing down. To bring it down. And that's a special chesed. That's a special chesed. So that's a tefillah. The tefillah is he's asking the Rebbeinu Shalom that his chusim that could be stuck in Olam Atzilus with a godly light, but he needs it into greenbacks. He needs a couple of Washingtons and Jeffersons. So he's asking, the tefillah is not matnas chinam.
Right,
he's asking that this chusim, he's using his chusim. That's tefillah. Matnas chinam is matnas chinam. The zwei besondere Sachen according to the Sifrei. So the Sifrei says that one pshat is that it was a tefillah because after Gzeida there could still be tefillah. The other pshat in the Sifrei says after the Gzeida there was a Gzeida against Moshe Rabbeinu. Tefillah is not going to help. Tefillah doesn't help because it's not there in heaven. There's a Gzeida against him. How's it get tefillah? Tefillah means just to cash what's in your bank account up there in a spiritual level, but this is not going to help. How are you going to translate it? It's not there in your account. There's a Gzeida. So therefore they said, no, the VEschanan means matnas chinam. VEschanan means matnas chinam. But the one of the big upshots that we take from this is that when you learn the Gemara in the Rosh Hashanah, it sounds like that there is opinions that after there's a Gzeida, there's nothing to do. Once there's a Gzeida, that's all over. But from Moshe Rabbeinu we learn that there's another avenue. Before the Gzeida, you can ask in a way of tefillah, but after the Gzeida, you can ask in a way of matnas chinam. Matnas chinam, and that's really, in a way, matnas chinam is greater. Because the Alter Rebbe says in lekuti Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu asked for matnas chinam. He asked for such a level, which is sarusa de la'ela she'eni sarusa latata magas l'sham. It should be such a godly light that a human being can't even affect it. That's matnas chinam, says the Alter Rebbe. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu wanted. The Yidden should have this. Moshe Rabbeinu felt that if the Yidden are going to have this special light, this godly light, which is called matnas chinam, it's a soidus that a human being can. Then that once they go into Eretz Yisrael, there's never going to be golus. It couldn't be golus if they had that. But the Rebbeinu Shalom said no, that we want the Lamaisei Bechatichsef, we want that the Yid should toil, and every thing should come based on the Yid's deserving it. But now that we're already here in such a long golus of 2,000 years, we know that we already deserve it. So now we're going to have not only matnas chinam, we're going to have that gewaldige light that Moshe Rabbeinu wanted, but not in the way of matnas chinam. We're going to have it because we really deserve it. Because we know that now we already deserve it. Okay, this Shabbos, Nachamu, should be the real Nachama of the Golus B'Bis Mashiach.
Amen.